Good evening, College Park. It is Tuesday, 7:30 p.m., September 24th. We are calling to the order of the regular meeting of the College Park City Council, College Park, Maryland. We'll begin the meeting with a moment of silent meditation, followed by Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight, this will be led by Dr. Esters, Councilmember Dr. Esters. Council, do you want to add anything to the meditation? Seeing none, please join me in a moment of silent meditation. Dr. Esters.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Be seated. We'll start with roll calls. Councilmember Hernandez.
Present.
Councilmember Hugh.
Present.
Dr. Esters.
Here.
Councilmember Whitney.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Mitchell.
Present.
Councilmember Mackey.
Present.
Councilmember Adams.
Here.
And Councilmember Rigg will not be with us tonight. We'll do announcement in the same order with Councilmember Hernandez.
Hi, yeah, I just wanted to congratulate city staff for putting on a wonderful event for Vamos a Bailar. It was the city's very first celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month. I think at some point we had counted it was north of 500 attendees in Duval Field. We had a lot of positive feedback. We saw a lot of residents who typically do not go to city events. And I was just so grateful for all the work that was put into this event. So thank you so much. And on behalf of the Hispanic community, I don't usually try to speak for them, but they were super grateful that the city was doing something to celebrate their heritage. So thank you.
Thank you, and this is probably the first time we have done it, so thank you again, staff, for doing a wonderful job. Before I ask Councilmember Hugh to make his announcement, I want to recognize him and also Councilmember Whitney for a wonderful achievement, and you probably guess what it is. Last week, I believe, last Sunday, yes, fresh. They received the Certificate of Fellowship from University of Maryland's School of Public Policies. And this is a certificate about Academy for Excellence, and the program is a partnership between University of Maryland, MML, and MACO, Maryland County Association, something. So let's give them a big round of applause. I know it's hard work, it wasn't easy, but you both did it wonderful. Thank you. Sorry to stop you. Please go ahead.
Okay, yes, and I agree. I would have mentioned as well the new faces and neighbors we saw last Friday at the Hispanic dance event. So really great turnout. Thank you, staff, and everybody who came out. Also, I want to thank the residents for coming out to the public meeting for the sector Route 1's Central Sector Plan meeting. There will also be a charrette, a 3-4 day charrette on October 23rd through 26th. And I really encourage residents to partake in this because it really helps define our community into the future. So, yeah, and thank you for acknowledging that. Fellowship.
Thank you. I had the opportunity to be on the second day, and the MNCPC staff did put a lot of hard work in putting together the presentations and the maps and everything. It was very helpful for the residents to give input. Thank you. Dr. Esters?
Pass.
Thank you. And Councilmember Whitney?
Thank you. The Restorative Justice Commission's work continues tomorrow night. Lakelanders will meet with the African American Redress Network to explore healing and reconciliation for the Lakeland community and guide the conversation with an overview of urban renewal and reparations. Second, Berwyn Day will be this Saturday from noon to 4 at Berwyn Park. There will be a bake sale, music, activities for kids, and Taqueria Habanero food truck. So please come out at Berwyn Park.
Thank you. Thank you there. Mayor Pro Tem Mitchell
Pass, Mr. Mayor.
and Councilmember Mackey.
Yes, I just wanted to give a shout out to the Branchville Volunteer Fire Department for their 100-year celebration. It was a very nice and celebration this past Saturday, and it was also a fun time for us council members to be together in a nice setting. And also, the Berwyn Heights Fire Department is also 100 years old this year. And today is National Voters Registration Day. So if you're not registered to vote, please do so. And another activity on the 28th is the ROCC activity about libraries. And you can just Google ROCC and it comes up. And don't forget to sign up to be a volunteer for Good Neighbor Day. Thank you.
Certainly. Thank you. Councilmember Adams?
Pass.
Good. Let's go to our student liaison, Ms. Ott
Pass, thank you.
and Mr. Fahmy.
Pass. Thank you.
Let's go to our city council member is attending a conference. City manager. What did I say? Sorry. So in his absence, Mr. Fields will be acting as the city manager tonight. And actually, he has been acting.
And
Please go ahead.
only doing announcements tonight. So on behalf of the city manager, I just have 3 announcements. From Public Works, on October 12th and 19th will be cleanup days. Saturday, those are Saturdays at Davis Hall from 7:30 till noon. You can bring trash, bulk trash. This item is online on the city's website, so you can get more details. On October 12th only, there's a shredding event. So the 2 cleanup days are 7:30 to noon on 12th and 19th. The shredding event starts at 8 o'clock. It's a separate contractor that will do the shredding, so they start at 8 a.m. to noon. So please look online for more detail. You must be a resident of the city of College Park and bring proof of residency to participants. Second, the city's Economic Development Department, in collaboration with PNC Bank, will kick off its financial education series tomorrow. I believe that's September 25th at 11 a.m. to noon at the College Park PNC branch, located at 7230 Baltimore Avenue. This first seminar will teach how to develop a business plan, and then a subsequent workshop will introduce small business banking services. The courses are taught by PNC business bankers. The registration and attendance is free. You can register, there's an email address here, collegeparkmd.gov /finance series, all one word. I think the city clerk will be putting that in the chat. Or you can contact the Economic Development Director, Mr. Williams, at 240-487-3506. And then if I had been on the ball with the meditation, this was more appropriate to go there. On a very sad note, it is with deepest sympathy that the city announces the recent and sudden passing of Paulette Richardson on Friday, September 20th. Ms. Richardson served as the city's one and only court-appointed contract violation review officer since the inception of the appeals program in April 2000. She's reviewed over 31,000 cases during her time. Prior to and during part of her time with the city, Paulette also worked with the University of Maryland as a ticket violation review official, where she had retired from in recent years. Please keep Paulette and her family in your thoughts and prayers.
Will do.
Thank you.
Mr. Fields, Do you want to make an announcement about College Park Day?
About what?
College Park Day. It's October.
I do not.
Everyone knows it's on October 5th from 12 to 6 o'clock, and there's been posters and the signs throughout the city. You shouldn't be missing it.
Thank you.
See you, everyone. Any question for Mr. Fields? No questions? All right, seeing none, let's go to the acknowledgements. I do not see any elected officials. I'll be recognize someone from Congressman Glenn Ivey's office very soon. But before that, I need to make 2 proclamations. One is about University of Maryland's Vice President, Mr. Carlo Colella, and it reads as follows. Whereas in recognition of his longtime service to the university and the support of the city of College Park, and whereas during his tenure as vice president, significant improvements were made to town-gown relationships and numerous projects that came to fruition benefited from his dedicated efforts. And whereas the completion of the City Hall project, and which is a joint project between the university and the city, which is now occupied both by the city and the university staff, and whereas the establishment of the College Park City University Partnership, which is a model community development organization known for the success of its initiatives and collaborations, and is recognized and valued by the city and the university community. And whereas College Park Academy, a Prince George's County public charter school founded in 2013, recently ranked by the U.S. News and World Reports as the #1 high school in PGCPS, and #1 in Maryland for graduation rate, #2 charter school in Maryland, and #30 high school in the state. And whereas the opening of the hotel at the University of Maryland in 2017, and whereas the opening of the University of Maryland Child Development Center, operated by Bright Horizons, a high-quality early education and preschool center, which opened in 2021. Now therefore be it proclaimed that Mayor and Council of the City of College Park join city residents, city staff, and University of Maryland staff in thanking Carlo Colella for his 36 years of service at the University of Maryland, as well as his 11 years of service as acting vice president and chief administrative officer, and look forward to working with him in the future. Proclaim this 24th day of September 2024. Fazil Kabir, Mayor, City of College Park. It's a wonderful opportunity for me to recognize him at the retirement party, which will be held day after tomorrow, and it'll be honor for me to read this proclamation to the audience at the party. All right, the second and last proclamation I have is about the Monarch Pledge Proclamation. Whereas the monarch butterfly is an iconic North American species whose multi-generational migration and metamorphosis from caterpillar to butterfly has captured the imagination of millions of Americans, and whereas both the western and eastern monarch populations have seen significant declines, with less than 1% of the western monarch population remaining, while the eastern population has fallen by as much as 90%. And whereas the City of College Park recognizes the human quality and human health ultimately depends on the well-functioning ecosystems, and the biodiverse regions can better support food production, healthy soil and air quality, and can foster healthy connections between humans and wildlife. Whereas cities, towns, and counties have critical role to play to help save the monarch butterfly, and College Park is striving to become a leader. And whereas College Park is committed to becoming a BCD USA affiliate, collected and packaged native milkweed seeds for seed giveaway, and install a monarch and pollinator-friendly demonstration garden in a busy residential median intersection. And whereas every resident of College Park can make a difference for the monarch by planting native milkweed and nectar plants to provide habitat for the monarch and pollinators in locations where people live, work, learn, play, and worship. And whereas College Park is committed to incorporate more beneficial monarch and pollinator-friendly plant species in future gardens to create habitat for those useful insects. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Mayor and Council of the City of College Park that September 24, 2024 is recognized as Mayor's Monarch Pledge Day in College Park, and encourage all residents to participate in community activities that support and celebrate monarch conservation, proclaimed this 24th day of September 2024, Fazil Kabir, Mayor, City of College Park. Now I will entertain any amendment and approval of the agenda. Is there any request for change to the published agenda? Councilor Hill?
Like to move item 24G130 to consent. This is the approval of the appointment of Jennifer Avalar to the Education Advisory Committee.
Second.
Seconded by, okay. So I need a vote for this because it's going from action to consent. All in favor,
Aye.
say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? The vote of 7-0. This has been moved to consent.
Mr. Mayor, I move to accept the agenda as amended.
Second.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by Councilor Mackey. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstention? So we have the agenda approved. All right. At this point, we go to presentation by, public comment on the consent agenda and non-agenda items. So you have 3 minutes. You can speak on any items which are not consent agenda or non-agenda item, including work session items. If you have joined online, you can raise your virtual hand and I will entertain you to speak. Seeing none, now we can go to presentation. And today we have special guest who is Ethan Sweep who is a community liaison for Congressman Glenn Ivey. Welcome, Mr. Sweep.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor and Council. Hello, everyone, and good evening. As the Mayor was saying, my name is Ethan Sweep. I'm a community liaison and grants manager for the Office of Congressman Glenn Ivey. So excited to be here with you tonight. Since the last time I saw you guys earlier this year, we've been hard at work for all of the constituents of Maryland's 4th Congressional District. This summer, we were able to celebrate grant funding for the district to reduce gun violence, money for electric school buses, and money for safer streets. Additionally, we continue to work on behalf of our constituents by liaisoning with the federal agencies to share both their concerns and their issues. So as always, if you or any of your constituents are having issues with the federal agencies, please have them reach out to our office. We would be more than happy to help. But tonight I want to talk to you about 3 specific things in particular. So the first is something that is known as the Congressional App Challenge or Congressional Application Challenge. The Congressional App Challenge is an opportunity for high school age students from all across the country to showcase their talents and skills. The way it works is that each participating member of Congress receives submissions from high school age students in their district. And from there, an independent panel of judges selects which app is the most innovative and beneficial to society. Once a district winner is crowned, they will be entered into the national competition, which will be judged by a different panel of judges to eventually crown a national winner. We are encouraging as many people from our district to join in order to promote and nurture an interest in developing technology. And we also believe that this is a great opportunity for those interested in the STEM fields to receive real-world skills and networking opportunities to help advance their future careers. The deadline to apply to that is October 24th, 2024, so coming up pretty soon. And if you want more information about the program, you can either reach out to us or by going to, I believe it is congressionalappchallenge.gov, which should have all of the information that you're looking for. Secondly, our office is currently accepting nominations to the military service academies. So how that works is that members of Congress, senators, the vice president, and the president are all allowed to submit appointments to 4 of the 5 service academies: the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, the Naval Academy in Annapolis, the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs, and the Merchant Marine Academy in Kings Point, New York. The 5th Service Academy, the Coast Guard Academy, does not require a congressional nomination in order to be accepted. Congressman Ivey may nominate between 10 to 15 individuals for each vacant academy slot allotted to our district, but we want people to understand that receiving a congressional nomination does not guarantee admission into an academy. However, it is a requirement to be considered for appointment as part of each service academy's admissions process, with, of course, the exception of the U.S. Coast Guard Academy. For more information on service academy nominations, you can, again, reach out to us or by going to our website. And under services, I believe it says Service Military Academy nominations, something like that on the drop-down menu. And that will also be where people will apply. There's a little form at the bottom of the page for them to fill out. The deadline to apply for nominations with our office is October 18th, 2024. So again, coming up soon, and I know we've received several applications for nominations already. But if you know any more, certainly encourage them to apply. Finally, I wanted to talk about something that is, my favorite thing, but this is the Community Project Funding Grant Program. So for those who may not be familiar, community project funding, or congressionally directed spending, as it's called in the Senate, is where members of Congress can submit requests to the Appropriations Committee as part of our annual budget process. The program was started up in the last couple years and has been an extremely effective way for us to get funding to nonprofits and municipalities in our districts for important projects that are going to benefit all of our residents. Our office will begin accepting applications after we receive guidance from the House Appropriations Committee, which usually happens in late February or early March, but that can change depending on when the budget gets passed for this year, and once they have time to kind of get the guidance together as a committee. If you have ideas for projects or would like to get more information, please reach out to our office and you can schedule a meeting with me. I'd be more than happy to talk about those projects with you, look at last year's guidance and kind of see what we can figure out. And then we are also planning to come around again early next year. Hopefully we'll have more information for you at that time. We're also in the works of doing another webinar probably in January, similar to the one we did last fall. And hopefully, again, we will have more information for you at that time. So again, thank you so much for having me tonight. I'll ask if anybody has any questions while I'm here.
Absolutely. Thank you for the presentation, and thank you. I appreciate the partnership we have with your office. Any question? Ms. Whitney?
Yes, if a local entity applied for a grant in this round and did not receive one, would they be encouraged to apply again?
Yeah, you can apply through our office again this year if you weren't accepted as part of last year's. It is a very competitive process. This year we were allowed to submit 15 projects to the committee for consideration. I believe we received about 75 applications. So certainly if people weren't picked and they still have a need for that funding, we would encourage them to apply.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Esther.
On that note, Mr. Sweep, if an application was not accepted last year, and I know you can't guarantee anything, but in meeting with you, can someone speak to you about where they can make improvements to their application?
Certainly. I'm more than happy to do that kind of whenever. I know I had a couple meetings with some people right after they received the message that they weren't going to receive funding. But yeah, certainly if you know someone that didn't receive it this year, I'm more than happy to meet with them, go through their application, talk about ways that it can be better, or if it was just, kind of splitting hairs at the end of it. But yeah, more than happy to have that conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions? Seeing none, thank you again for coming, and we'll be definitely in touch with you, and appreciate everything you do, and I'm looking forward to working with you.
Great. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right. Now we go to the approval of the consent agenda. We have 3 items, including the one that has been moved today from action item. The first one, and let me read them out, and then I'll entertain a motion. The first one is the 24G127, which is the approval to install a stop sign on Limestone Place at Depot Place. Number 2 is the 24G128, which is the approval for staff to send a letter to the 21st District Delegation requesting a review of Maryland Code Regulations 13.16.08.03, which is the group size and staffing, which regulates the staff/child ratios at daycares and childcare centers. And finally, and third one is the 24G130, which is approval of the appointment of Jennifer Avelar to the Education Advisory Committee.
Move to pass the consent agenda.
Second.
Moved by Councilor Hernandez, seconded by Councilor Mackey. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Consent agenda has been approved. Now we go to a public hearing. We have 2 public hearings. The first one is about, which is 24005. It's about the ordinance of the mayor and council to amend city code, chapter 119-9, fees and waivers, to conform the city code and operational practice regarding when the payment of the refuse collection fee for a rental property must be paid. And this will be taken by our attorney, city attorney.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. This was introduced formally on September 10th. The background is with the implementation of the Acela trash fees now, let me explain what Acela is. It's a new software that's being used. Trash fees now need to be paid when a rental property is obtaining or renewing an occupancy permit. Trash fees are billed annually and not necessarily when an occupancy permit is obtained. Payment of the trash fee and occupancy permit is now required to occur simultaneously. All fees for refuge collection will be payable annually with the submission of an application for an occupancy permit as set forth in chapters 110 of the City Code.
All right, any question for Ms. Anderson? Seeing none, I'll ask anyone in the room to come forward and speak on this. Mr. Dorsch, please come forward. Thank you for taking the time to come to the City Hall.
Hi, Dave Dorsch, longtime resident. You said, what was the final thing you said about that?
The final thing,
Yeah,
I believe all fees,
yeah,
that line?
yeah.
All fees for refuge collection will be payable annually with the submission of an application for an occupancy permit as set forth in chapters 110 of the City Code.
What's that exception?
What's the exception?
Yeah.
Not sure. what you
Okay.
meant.
Me either.
Can staff give the clarification? Ms. Allen?
I need a little bit more guidance. Is there something that is not clear?
What, and I think the resident was asking about the exception.
Did I mention exception? I don't think I mentioned an exception. So is there an exception in the law that you're speaking to?
Just the last sentence you said there.
I didn't mention an exception.
Okay,
Okay.
must be hearing weird things.
All right. Let me see if there is anyone online who wants to speak. There isn't anyone. Let's, seeing none, I declare that the public hearing has been held. I think it also says possible action, so I'll entertain a motion to take action on it. Councilmember Adams.
Yeah, I move to adopt ordinance 24005, an ordinance of the mayor and council to amend the city code, chapter 119-9, fees and waivers to conform with the city code with the operational practice regarding when the payment of the refuge collection fee for a rental property must be paid.
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Adams, seconded by Dr. Esters. Any further comments?
I don't believe this is increasing any fees. It's just making sure that they're paid in a timely manner in coordination with other, requirements that we have at the city. Thank you.
Thank you. It's just cleaning up the process. All right. We have taken public comments as part of the public hearing. So any further comments from the council before we take the vote? Seeing none, sorry, let's, all in favor say aye. Any opposed, any abstention? The motion has been approved. The ordinance 24005 has been adopted. We have second and the last ordinance, which is about the ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of College Park to amend the fiscal year 2025 operating and capital budget of the city of College Park, Maryland. And this will be presented by our Director of Finance, Gary Fields, who is also our acting city manager. Mr. Fields.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Just to introduce this prior to the public hearing, we have Amendment 240-06. That's Ordinance 240-06, which is a budget amendment. It's been discussed at length at the August 7th meeting, again on September 10th. Just the summary of it. There's from FY24, we're moving forward $150,000 that was had originally been budgeted for student housing subsidy, another $251,000 from approved business grants from 2024, and then new $280,000 that was added prior to the introduction of the ordinance on September 10th. And then $400,000 for Meals on Wheels, which was a shift over from ARPA funds. Additionally, affecting general fund, there's $1.108 million being transferred out to the capital projects fund. That represents lost revenue recovery that was from ARPA funding. A couple of years ago, $10 million was transferred over to the general fund. So that is monies left that needs to be transferred out, and we're taking care of that with this budget amendment. And then the other three items are reallocations of ARPA fund monies in order to satisfy some upcoming obligation requirements of U.S. Treasury coming up on December 31st. And just get all of that funding able to be spent, again, in accordance with the requirements set. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Further comments? Any question for Mr. Fields? Mr. Adams.
Yes, can you comment on the, so we had the lost revenue recovery, that we are kind of cleaning it by, allocating it towards some salaries, but essentially that's being moved from the general fund to the capital, our CIP, our capital projects budget. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Can you kind of just help me understand why we wouldn't keep it in the general fund, and why are we just proactively putting in the CIP? What's the logic behind that?
It represents lost revenue recovery, so it's being transferred out. It's being allocated to salaries and benefits, which it would be used that way. So I guess it's taking out a step. I mean, you could reduce it for the expenses of salaries and benefits, or either way, it comes out the same. $1,108,000 needs to come out of general fund.
Got it. That makes sense. Thank you. And I do have one proposed amendment when it's time
Yeah,
for that.
hold on. So let's go in order, and I'll entertain your amendment, or any other amendments. Any other question for Mr. Fields before we take public comments? All right. Mr. Fields, I really appreciate the email you sent to the council, and one piece of information that is very important is about the percentage of excess funds we have after the changes, and according to your math, this will come down to 31.1%. Am I correct?
So if all things go exactly according to budget and this amendment from now till June 30th,
Yeah.
which is not going to happen, that's where it would come out.
Which
We hope we will have, additional funding that, again, will bring that up, but there's no guarantees of that. But
correct.
that's the number now, and it's still in excess of the 25% council requirement, charter requirement for
Right.
fund balance retention.
And before the changes, last time when we discussed it, I think our percentage, the percentage number, we used to have about 35, 36%.
Yes, sir, it was 36%. That was the budgeted number from when we put the budget together back March,
Right.
April, with the increase that we had in surplus, in FY24 surplus. That number went up to a little over 40%.
Right. So bottom line is, we still have some surplus, but it has gone down than what we had just a few weeks ago, months ago.
Yes, sir.
We approved it from 36 to 31%. So you should note it before you spend big money. Thank you. If there is no other questions, let's go to the audience. And if you have any comments, Mr. Dorsch, always nice to hear from you. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Dave Dorsch, a longtime resident. The one thing that I and many of my neighbors were concerned about is giving away this money to students that are not necessarily from College Park. And they don't even have to go to the University of Maryland. They just have to live in one of these apartment buildings over here. We're going to give them $1,250. What? Why? I mean, do we have an obligation to be paying the students that come to the University of Maryland money for some reason or other? What about the people in town here? As an old person, I get $150 from the city every year. How come I can't get $1,250? So I'm just wondering what the thing is here, why we think that these students need all this money. So I would just, as my other neighbors have said to me, I don't know why we do this. It's great that I guess we just have so much money, we just don't know what to do with it all, and this is one of the ways we use it. But I would think that there are better ways to spend our city's money than just giving it away to students that happen to live in the apartment buildings here for the University of Maryland. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for your comments. Anyone else wants to speak? If you have joined online, you can also speak. Just raise your virtual hands. I will make sure you can speak. Seeing none, let's come back to the city council. At this point, we can have discussion and I can entertain any amendments anyone can have, one or more or none, maybe. Mr. Adams, I think you said. you have
Mr.
an
Mayor,
amendment?
I think we need to close the public hearing.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, seeing none, I declare that the public hearing has been held. Thank you for checking on me. Absolutely. Any comments or any amendments anyone has? But before, actually before that, I think we need to have a, yeah, we need to have the motion first on the main motion, then we can have amendment. Okay, Dr. Estes, please.
Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt ordinance 24006, an ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of College Park to amend the fiscal year 2025 operating and capital budget of the city of College Park, Maryland.
Second.
Okay, moved by Councilor Dr. Estes, seconded by Mr. Hernandez. We are not going to the ordinance again because public hearing has been taken. Let's come to the council, and if anyone has any comments or any amendment, this is the time to make the amendment. Mr. Adams?
Yeah, I'll start with two comments and then an amendment. One comment, Mr. Dorsch, always appreciate you coming out here. We know with the homestead tax deduction, you're getting thousands of dollars off your property taxes, and we think and strongly support that here at council. And we know it's much more than just the senior tax credit, but that's also an important one as well. The other item is, I really appreciate the work that the city staff has done to listen to this council, listen to the residents on, our priorities and how we think it's best to utilize the remaining portions of our ARPA allocation. I think we do a good job and a very proactive and legitimate needs of the senior population, though I do want to elevate the families of children less than 5 years old in our community definitely have heavy burdens with childcare. I think many of you are watching the presidential election and looking at the debate there, and you'll see that across the country, childcare costs have just skyrocketed during the pandemic, and it is a tremendous cost where the federal guidelines are 7% of your household income going to childcare costs, while some families in this community are spending 30 to 40%. And so I look forward to working with my colleagues to make sure that we hit that head on. There's a letter in our agenda packet to look at some maybe Maryland state code changes that could help address that need, but I think we can do more. But we're gonna need to talk about what we can do in the future. So those are the two comments I have, and I'd like to move forward an amendment. It's not an aggressive amendment, but if you look at our ARPA allocations for Care Solis, we are essentially prepaying for FY26 and FY27. And I'd like to do similar for the food service delivery organizations. Currently, the additional $455,000 is placed in FY25, which is the current year, and then FY26, which is next year. I'd like to amend that to be FY26 and FY27 to match what is in there for Care Solis.
Mr. Fields, before you take the second.
If I could just clarify, on page 2 of the ordinance, the $155,000 is for food service delivery for FY25, and the food service delivery for FY26 and 27 is split is 300. So it was with assumption of a 150 for each year.
So what you're saying is already been taken care of?
Okay, so it's not it's not 455 additional, it's actually 300 additional?
The total for the remaining ARPA allocation is 455. 155 FY25.
What we've already approved?
No, sir. The 100 was paid July early July, that came from general fund dollars.
Okay.
So that was the,
I guess
believe
what I'm
it's
asking is, in our budget that we approved in, I think, May or something like that, right? We did have funding towards food delivery services.
from the general fund, not from
And it
our.
was just general fund.
Yes, sir.
And that was 100,000.
Yes, sir.
And so here, we're talking about increasing that by 305,000 in FY '25,
155.
155.
Yes, sir.
And then,
From ARPA
okay, and then 150 in FY '26,
and 150.
and then 150 in FY '27?
Yes, sir.
Where does it note FY '27 in this? I did not read the ordinance nor the packet to indicate that.
On the ordinance, the formal ordinance, it's on page 2, down in the middle of the page.
It's in the package.
Page 28 of the packet.
Okay, I will note that it says it there, but as it's referenced in the agenda packet summary and as it's referenced in the page above that, it says 455 for FY '25 and FY '26.
Yes, sir. My apologies.
Okay,
That
so-
was summarizing, I understand what you're saying. That's just a summary of the ordinance.
Okay. To me, that's different than what I understood it, so I will remove the amendment, but it's a different discussion point than what I understood coming into this meeting, so I think it was written, very differently in the summary aspect, but I do agree that in the line item, it is articulated there.
Yeah, as far as the line items in the worksheet, I think has been taken care of, right, Mr. Fields?
Yes, I apologize. I mean, I write, the staff reports are our summary of the item. I agree with you. I miswrote that. But, I mean, if I'd had 26, 27, it would be an appropriate summary. It's still a total of 455.
Yeah, but I'm looking at the ordinance, the actual ordinance that we would pass, and in that paragraph, it says 455 for FY '25 and FY '26 for 5 food service delivery organizations. So I would question if the ordinance is actually written as to what we are intending to pass. At the bottom of the second paragraph, whereas the mayor and council desire to amend, if you look at the bottom of the second paragraph, the second whereas.
That's correct. We can correct that over, again, it's written in the paragraph of the numbers over on the third page. I don't know what page that is. Be it further ordained that, and then in number 3, it does say, the allocated for funding grants to food service delivery organizations, 155 FY '25 and 300 FY '26, '27.
Yeah,
I mean,
so yeah.
I will get that cleared up
Thank you.
and make sure that's clarified. My apologies.
Yeah, I don't think we need to make an amendment because the language of the motion is still correct, right? I mean, that doesn't give all the detail.
Sure.
Yeah. So, Mr. Adams, I know you moved it, but there is no second, so the motion is not really on the table, so we haven't gone really that far.
Yeah, I removed it, and I don't know if I can vote for it with this change, just because I think it's different than what I understood it to be. Thank you.
Okay. Any further comments or amendments? Seeing none, I call for votes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'll oppose and I think the rationale is that I came to this meeting understanding a different context that was written clearly in that way, and it conflicts within itself, and I think we are doing, I don't have to explain it further, but I feel there's other needs out there. Thank you.
Thank you. And any abstention? So that, the 6-1, the motion is passed. Ordinance has been adopted. Thank you all, and thank you staff, and thank you council for your hard work. It's a lot of work went into it.
Question, Mr. Mayor, to Mr. Fields, and to Ms. Anderson, but you will go back to clean up the wording on the third whereas, correct?
Yes, ma'am,
Second.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. That will be most appropriate. All right, so we're done with both public hearings, and we don't have any action item. We have come to the very last item on the work session. We only have one work session item, which is about the agenda items of the October 24 Four Cities meeting, which will happen in New Carrollton, city of New Carrollton. And there will be a presentation from the SHA, State Highway Administration, District 3 Engineering.
We had that last time.
We actually had it last time. You're right, the Byron Heights meeting, correct? But probably has been copied. What Councilman Whitney was telling, if you look at the title of the agenda under the 13 work session discussions,
Yes.
so it reads in parentheses that presentation, there will be a presentation from the State Highway Administration District 3 Engineer. So they actually came in the last Four Cities meeting.
She didn't change it when she sent it to me. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
it happened.
I just wanted to make sure you knew they were on there, but
Maybe-
obviously they were at the last meeting.
Maybe
Thank
the
you.
team will be coming again, you know. All right. Mayor Protem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to add, number one, an update from the city of Greenbelt regarding the maglev. What is the status of that project? Number two, I would like to see if they can invite Mr. Early back from Prince George's County government in regards to the tax differential for municipalities. And number three, I would like to see if we can, have an update in regards to, with the four cities going forward regarding North County Animal Shelter,
Yeah.
and pressing for additional monies to be set aside. For my colleagues, if you're not aware, the current county shelter is going through some extreme changes with lack of staffing, lack of doctors to provide appropriate care. The shelter continues to be closed down more than open. So I think it would behoove us as a city that's always had a love for our animals and had our own semi-shelter, as well as we have animal control officers, to work very hard to push the county to do something.
Thank you. I also like to add an item. I'm sure this item will be already added. It's about the status of the fire services, service carts at the two fire stations, Greenbelt and Byron Heights. And it is, College Park is part of that conversation and the litigation that we have. So, anything else? All right. Mr. Adams?
Looking to see if there's an update on potential legislation at this year's General Assembly for municipal fines, increasing the maximum from 1,000 to 5,000 in line with what the county can now do.
All right. So you have quite a few, 5 of them. Thank you. Seeing none, that's all we have. You have, how many you have, 5, right? Yeah, that's a good number. All right, let's go to the very last item, which is the request for status of the future agenda items. Councilwoman Mackey has put a very nice one. Can you please talk about
Yes.
it a little bit?
Okay, so this would be asking our city engineer to lead a study on our city roads and the safety of passage of ambulances and fire trucks, and it's also in coordination with this director of parking. I've spoken to both of them and the city manager, and they're all enthusiastic about studying our road safety, the width of our roads, to see about the safety of passage of ambulances and fire trucks. And I think I stated that right, but, yes, so.
It is a very important one. Thank you for coming up with the idea, and thank you for your leadership.
You're welcome.
Absolutely. All right, so let's add this to the agenda. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, any abstentions? So this item has been added. Mr. Adams.
And I'll say I'll second Councilmember Mackey's if we need
Okay.
a second. All right. I put forward an agenda item to look at potential partnerships and grants related to affordable childcare. I spoke to this earlier. The federal guideline is 7% of household income is really the threshold of affordability for childcare, and I'm directly aware of residents in College Park that are paying 30 to 40% of their income for childcare, and it's a heavy burden, and it only might last a few years. But during those few years, it's a big deal. So I think we can look at different ways to address that. I know the city has prior with some partnerships, but I think we can even do a little bit more.
All right, have you submitted the form? You have,
Yes.
okay, thank you.
I'll second that.
Okay, so you have a motion, you have a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, and any opposed, any abstention? So it's been added. All right, thank you. Any other items, Mr. Hill?
Yeah, I'm looking at a master list and,
Turn the mic on.
Sorry, thank you. I'm looking at our master list, and I'm looking at 70-16-24, the follow-up discussion and draft language to amend the city code, chapters 125, 141, and 110 to prohibit the storage of certain types of furniture in the front yard. We kind of postponed this till the students got back. They're back now, so should we consider adding this to the future agenda?
Have you, oh, okay, this is an inquiry, right? About, okay.
So I make a motion that we move it to the future agenda? Or what?
Mayor, it is coming
Yeah,
back. Jatinder and the city attorney has been working on that, and it is coming back in October. We just don't have it on the calendar yet.
Yeah, okay, good enough for me.
Good, thanks for the update. All right. Any other items? Seeing none, let's go to the comments from the audience. So this is the last time, Mr. Dors, including Mr. Dors and others, you can come and speak on anything and everything you may have. And I don't see any virtual hands. Seeing none, let's come back to the City Council. Council, if you have anything you want to add, I'll start with from my District 3 colleague, Mr. Adams.
Pass.
Ms. Mackey,
Pass.
Mayor Pro Tem Mitchell.
All right. I want to thank the residents of West College Park and North College Park who have expressed extreme concerns about the postal services in the area. I did have a conference call with a senior supervisor in the U.S. Postal Service. They have assured us that they are going to be working with the issues that were presented to them, including the staffing changes at the post office. That will also include the postal carriers. They asked to continue to send emails of concerns, and I will be relaying that to them. They also are willing to attend a virtual meeting or in-person meeting with any residents who still have concerns. Last week I attended the National League of Cities University Community Council. These are cities who have universities within their city or towns, and we talked about the economic development, especially around affordable housing, and what does that look like for each city and town. It was a quite robust discussion, and it will be continued at the City Summit in Tampa. Also last week I attended the COG board meeting, and there was discussion about upcoming election and the concerns about security breaches and how that may affect local elections going forward. So there will be continued discussions in October, and I would be glad to bring that back to my colleagues. Last, I attended the Prince George's County Municipal Association meeting last Thursday, where there was a presentation about stormwater management in regards to Senator Alonzo Washington's bill at the state, and also about what type of funding municipalities can receive in order to support stormwater management mitigation. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, thank you. Especially I appreciate the USPS item. And thank you for connecting with the leadership, and this has been ongoing. I've seen on the social media a couple of residents from your district, at least 3 of them, and they're having trouble. You know, it's been an ongoing issue, really. We used to have a municipal liaison at the post office in Hollywood. I don't think he works there anymore.
No, that individual doesn't work there. So again, they are going through our internal staff changes. So we will have a new person. And once that person, I get the information, I will share that with
Okay,
colleagues.
thank you, very helpful. All right. Sorry, you have a question?
On the topic of the USPS, and I wanted to thank Mayor Pro Tem for having the conversation, but I wonder, have we ever invited them to come to a council meeting to speak to us? And if we have, can we do it again to see if they'll actually come to talk to us about the issues?
Sure. Again, the gentleman, I don't want to divulge his name, but he is willing to come back to us. And this has been, since I've been on the council, we've had repeated episodes of concerns with the Postal Service, especially North College Park. So I'll be glad to work with the city manager's staff to get some dates so they can come forward. Okay.
Yeah, we don't have a formal public meetings, but we had a high-level meeting with the leadership at the federal level Steny Hoyer's office, because the post office is, they report to Congress. And that was very fruitful. And we submitted very long, actually twice, 2 long list of complaints from different residents and without the addresses. And this has been ongoing, but the only option we have, we continue advocating for our residents, the challenges they have. So last week was a very busy week, I think, for all of us. We have been almost every day we have got something going, and I saw many of you in many events, like at the U.S. Route 1 study event, and the Barwin Civic Association events, Calvert Hill Civic Association event, Branchville Fire Department's 100 years anniversary event, and Hispanic Communities Heritage Civic, celebration event at the Duval Field. I also had an opportunity to be at the Rotary Club's monthly meeting at the Duval Field, actually Davis Hall, and they gave the city council as a nice mug from Rotary. So I promised them I'll be showing everyone the camera. Yeah, they're fantastic work. Unfortunately, many of us probably do not know. Very good working people. All right, Ms. Whitney.
Thank you. Last Friday, I attended the Chesapeake Bay Policy Committee Water Quality Forum. It's one of the COG committees that both Councilmember Mackey and I belong to. And basically, they are looking at the Beyond 2025 process, which is looking at the Chesapeake Bay restoration activities are now about 41 years old, and they're looking at kind of what has been accomplished and what to plan going forward, and they're inviting public comment. So if anyone is interested in learning more about that, feel free to email myself or Councilmember Mackey, and we can direct you as to how to make public comment.
Fantastic. Thank you. Dr. Esters.
Pass.
And Mr. Hugh.
Thank you, I pass.
And Mr. Hernandez.
I just wanted to thank the city's Senior Advisory Committee and Age-Friendly College Park Work Group for sending in a letter of request to bring up an issue of communication. I just want to encourage all of the committees that we have. Like, you all can send us letters and advocate for particular issues that you all are working on. It's super helpful because you're seeing this each and every day. And when you bring it to our attention, we can chop on it, we can give our opinions and hopefully try to implement that. So I'm thankful for all of the committees who have participated in the Hollywood Farmers Market, to include the Bee City Committee, Bee City USA Committee, the Seniors Advisory Committee, and I believe the Bike and Pedestrian Committee have participated. Encourage all of the rest of the committees to come, share a little bit about what you do, get other residents excited, and hopefully we can get a larger volunteer pool, and we see an increase in civic engagement. I did want to flag, I guess we're not going to have a city council session next week?
We are not. This,
Right.
tonight is the last meeting of the month, right?
Oh, okay. Well, we're always excited for less meetings. But on October 5th, also College Park Day, big event for everyone who hasn't ever participated. We have a lot of students here. Strongly encourage you all to participate. It's one of our coolest, funnest events. We have live bands, vendors, food, everything. I did also want to flag, just on behalf of the Maryland Department of Agriculture, that the spotted lanternfly has been seen up in College Park. Pennsylvania held a very aggressive public campaign against it, and this was all about just reporting it. This is an invasive species that really destroys our local environment, right? Our native plants. So if you see any, please squash it, report it. This is your license to kill the spotted lanternfly. All right? Thank you. Mm-hmm.
That's powerful.
Yeah, I reported my first one this weekend.
Wow, good job. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Ms. Allen, in regards to Mr. Hernandez about the committee's report, we used to receive the monthly meeting minutes from all the committees in our packet. Oh yeah, see, that tells us how long I've been on the council.
Many years ago.
Many years ago, we used to receive them monthly, from all the committees, so we can see what they were doing. And if we wanted to ask questions, we could filter those through the city manager. So I don't know if that's something that will be too onerous to go back to, because I think that was very helpful for some of us who are not able to attend, as well as the student liaisons, who will be able to see what the committees are doing.
Well,
Okay,
certainly,
thank you.
staff can discuss it internally if it's not too much of work.
They were posted
Their
online.
minutes are posted online, that's
Yes.
correct, yeah. All right, so we have student, before we recognize, I see quite a few, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're all from University of Maryland School of Journalism, I believe, and came here as an assignment, because we get many students like you. So thank you all for taking time to come. This is wonderful. Yeah, thankfully it's a short meeting. We normally stay here until midnight, but you guys are lucky that you can leave the hall early. Thank you for engagement. We really appreciate that you took the time and came. It's only as Miss Art.
Since we have so many students here, I'd also like to try to get as many students as possible to volunteer for Good Neighbor Day, if possible. It's a great opportunity to help your community, and I think that the students should go out there and help the greater community they're a part of.
Absolutely, thank you. Because the majority of the volunteers actually come from campus. They're the main participants. It's very important that we get as many as we can. Let's go to Mr. Fahmy, and please go ahead.
I'll pass, thank you.
Pass. If there is no objection, Mr. Dorsch, do you want to speak? I know I called before.
I just wanted to mention one thing, that the College Park Day is being held at the airport. And
Right.
you guys mentioned the day, but you don't say where it is.
Yeah,
Mr. Mayor,
We're
can-
just assuming that everyone knows, but it's a good point. Thank you, Mr. Hernandez.
I wrote it down and I forgot. If you don't mind, just one more announcement. October 1st is the deadline for the senior tax credit application submission. Last year, we had at least 1 or 2 residents who didn't submit in time. So if you know one of your neighbors is elderly, what a better opportunity or excuse to go knock on their door and check on them than to ask them if they've submitted their application. So please, by next Tuesday.
I think you're referring to College Park tax credit. It's not the county one, right?
Correct. This is the College Park
Yeah,
one.
county also has a senior. Mr. Mackey. Yeah, you still have midnight. so-
Yeah, so October 6th is Branchville Fire Department Day, and they're having big festivities at the Branchville
yeah.
Fire Department. Yeah.
October 6th. What time is it? Yeah, I posted on my blog. But
I think it's 12 to 6.
12 to 6? Okay, thank you, Ms. Perez. All right, let's go to our staff, our city manager, acting city manager, Mr. Fields.
Nothing further, thank you.
Pass. All right, it's 8:40. I entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Everyone is so excited. I think you moved the motion. Who's the second? Moved by Councilmember, Whitney, and second by Mayor Pro Tem Mitchell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstention? We are adjourned. Good night, College Park.